John. Damn, John. Oh, damn. It's time for another Rage Select podcast. Are you ready for questions?
Yeah.
Damn it. I was so close.
I've had weeks to prepare.
God damn it. Yeah, I should never have given you that week off. I should have called you on the phone 3 days after the last time we had a podcast, like Sunday afternoon, while you're at work, and been like, are you ready for questions? You'd be like, leave me alone, and then hung up.
Yeah, that's exactly what would have happened.
Damn it. All right, well, now I know what to do. But now you're ready. These mind games. I'm not ready for them, but I am ready for another Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. And I am Jeff.
I'm John.
And it's PAX right now, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of news coming out.
Yeah, a lot of news.
We got all kinds of crazy shit. This isn't one of those like I got 8 stories about like esports in Australia. No, we got brand new games. We got brand new announcements and trailers.
Like PAX, the one event that's not been shut down by the coronavirus yet.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll talk about global pandemics a little bit. But before we get into global pandemics, John, what have you been up to?
Let's see. On Monday, I went and saw the MST3K Live.
Nice.
Great cheesy movie circus tour.
Okay.
They riffed the movie. One of my favorite childhood movies. Like I own this movie on Blu-ray, and I genuinely love this movie.
You guys got Mark Dacascos in it?
No, okay. Surprisingly not. But it's No Retreat, No Surrender.
Okay.
I don't know if you know what that movie is.
It's got, you told me about it. It's Jean-Claude Van Damme is a bad guy. It's like his first movie or something.
Yeah, well, it's not like his first movie, but it's like one of.
Okay.
And like he's only in it for maybe like 15 minutes of screen time in total, like once briefly at the very beginning, and then he's like there at the very end, but like he's not a factor at all in any decision any character makes from the middle part of the movie.
Yeah, you told me, you gave me a rundown on the plot to this movie, and it's got to be like the most 80s thing I've ever heard in my life, because there's Russians and there's like I don't know if everybody remembers this, but like in the 80s there were a lot of movies and like just general, there's a lot of like cultural recognition of like karate dojos where oh no, the karate dojo's getting taken over by Russians in my neighborhood.
Mafia, like the Russian mob or whatever. And actually I think I was wrong. It's not Russian mob, but it is like a mafia kind of thing where like they want to own all of it so that they can use them as like money laundering fronts, and and they like the father of the main character who owns the dojo and runs the school doesn't want to sell and doesn't want to like join, so then they break his leg and then threaten to hurt his family.
So wait, I have to know though, are they Russian mobsters or are they like New York Italian gangsters?
Well,
or
it's it's like you have Jean-Claude Van Damme who is playing a Russian character,
Austrian mobsters.
But I mean, I'm just saying he's Russian.
Okay,
and then you have like this greasy, kind of Italian but not really Italian dude who's kind of like the evil front man.
Okay.
And then like there's the head of the organization who's just like an old white dude.
Okay. So it's a real mix. It's a real stew of 80s bad toughs. Trying to take over the dojo.
Yeah. And so the father, not wanting to, conflict and not wanting his family to be hurt, decides to shut down the dojo.
Yeah.
Move across, because they're in California. They're from Los Angeles, and they move all the way to Seattle to get away from it.
Sure, like you
do. The father goes into being a bartender, like at a bar, and the son is like trying to, just because he really loves karate and like Bruce Lee's like his favorite thing.
Oh, he trains with like the ghost of Bruce Lee.
And then he trains with the ghost of Bruce Lee.
Well,
the great thing about it, the actor that they got, one, they overdub him.
Okay.
So it's not even the actor's voice. 2, he looks nothing like Bruce Lee.
Well, how was the riff tracks? How are the
riffs from the MST3K group? It was good. It was great.
Sorry, it's MST3K.
No,
is it the new crew?
So it is not. Okay. So it's for this tour. It's Joel and an entirely, completely new group.
Oh, okay.
That none of them were part of the TV show.
Oh, all right.
While they aren't saying anything, and while all the members of the TV show have said that they want to play these characters more, and if there's more seasons, that they will gladly reprise their characters.
Right on.
The feeling you got from the end of the show, from the tour, is that this new group will be the live tour group, and they're probably going to do a live tour once every year.
Okay.
Going forward. because they're probably not going to get another TV deal.
Okay. It seems to me like MST3K has always
been on the verge of cancellation.
Well, no, but it's a general concept. But I feel like it's like there's two ways to look at it. One is that like this is a great thing, anybody could do it. You could do this with video games and make your own YouTube channel. Who would do that? That's stupid.
Yeah.
And then there's the other side of it that's like this show works best when Joel Hodgson is there, and that he was so baked into like the early stuff that Mike is good and everything, but like I don't know. Whenever I think of MST3K, I think of Joel.
I think of all the hosts.
Yeah.
Like I honestly, Joel, Mike, Jonah. Like I think of all three of them. Like I generally like all three of them for different reasons.
Yeah.
Amanda actually hates Joel.
Oh, really?
She does not like Joel's.
Bucking the trend.
Well, she grew up with Mike.
Okay.
Like when she started watching the show, it was a Mike Nelson kind of thing, and she just likes his delivery better because Joel has that very like, I don't know, man, like I don't know, kind of low key, which is weird because I'm very low key as well. But I kind of came in at a time when it was nothing but reruns on Comedy Central.
Me too.
So like one night it would be Mike, the next night it would be Joel, and the next night it'd be Mike again, and so I grew up loving them both.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know why there's two different people trapped on this spaceship and why they never interact with each other, but I fucking love both of them.
Fair enough.
And then found out the reason why they never interact with each other because they weren't at the same time. I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But no.
Well, you were only a child.
That's true.
I mean, how were you supposed to understand? You thought it was a real space station.
I actually really liked the new cast. And then the cast for the show was great too.
Okay.
Like they were all great. This was officially. They said this was Joel's last tour for
John's
MST3K.
making air quotey fingers.
Well, and by last tour, because the first tour was Joel and Jonah
right
riffing together, and then this tour was Joel's farewell tour, meaning that if he's involved, it's just going to be from a production directorial position for the TV show. But for live tours, it's pretty much, well, we're going to give it to this group of people, and they're just going to go do stuff and no one and he's not going to be there kind of thing.
Okay.
But I don't know. Like I said, I enjoyed it though. I thought the movie was great. The riffing was great. The little jokes were It
sounds like a perfect movie for that too.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cultural
Riff Tracks
silliness.
did actually do a VOD version of it a long time ago as well, which I have that too because again, I love the fucking movie.
It's like Christmas. Just anybody.
Yeah.
Should we do one? Should we sit down and do a Riff Tracks for No Retreat, No Surrender?
I don't know. Sure.
I mean,
I've got it on Blu-ray.
Okay, there
we could do the international cut of the movie, which is longer and actually makes more sense.
It's got more boss fights.
No, it
they
just made it like
Ruby Weapon.
The funny thing about the theatrical version is they cut out all the scenes that explain what's going on.
Oh, cool.
So like the stuff about it being like some type of like weird mafia trying to take over the dojos, not in the theatrical version, only in the international version. Like there's whole scenes that explain like why the father moved the family to Seattle. Not in the theatrical version.
You could literally say to people when they say like, "Oh, I love No Retreat, No Surrender," and you could bust out your No Retreat, No Surrender hipster credentials and be like, "Oh, now are you talking about the U.S. version or the international version?" Because you really haven't seen No Retreat, No Surrender until you've watched the international version, which I just happen to have on Blu-ray. I mean, if you really want to see it,
it's the only way it's sold on Blu-ray. But yeah,
okay.
But yeah, no, it's a terrible movie. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like I love it. I love it. Genuinely love this movie.
Okay.
But I want to preface this for anyone who goes and searches it out.
Yeah.
It's a fucking terrible movie.
Right on.
Like I said, the ghost of Bruce Lee is an actor who is overdubbed with somebody else's voice because apparently he couldn't speak English.
Okay.
And also looks absolutely nothing like Bruce Lee.
Okay.
I think he's even shorter than Bruce Lee.
Sounds great. I'm totally going to watch it. Well, I was going to say I've done a hodgepodge of nothing worthwhile this week. I started watching new anime. I started watching ReZero something, some kind of big subtitle, which is an isekai where the guy goes to a fantasy world, except kind of the thing that's different about this one is the guy doesn't have any like powers. He's just a regular
like a Steins Gate. RE0 whatever.
Oh, I don't think it's connected to that, but it does have a time, like when the guy dies, he always goes back to the beginning of this time loop. So instead of being like the guy that goes to the fantasy world and then he's like super powerful, he just is like a regular guy who's kind of a jerk. In fact, he knows what an isekai is, and so when he goes there, he expects to be a super overpowered protagonist, and then he just kind of gets beat up and murdered right away. So I don't know, that Mother's Basement YouTube channel recommended it, and I was like, I need something else, because I was this close, John, to rewatching Death Note, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I was really close to just being like,
did you hear about that new manga that the creator of Death Note did?
I did, that has Donald Trump in it.
Has Donald Trump in it, and also
really? He buys the Death Note and then Ryuk takes it away from him or something.
Well, so no, so like the demon that actually that makes the rules for the Death Note gets pissed off that the kid uses a loophole to sell the Death Note for money. Yeah. So then that demon rewrites the rules so that if you sell the book for money, that neither the person who paid for it or the person who sold it can the person who paid for it can't use the book, or both him and the seller would die instantly.
Oh, okay.
And the person who received the money can't spend any of the money, or else him and the seller will die instantly.
Cool.
So yeah, and then Trump's like, well, that's okay because I'm not going to use it, but because people who are afraid of me will know that I have it and will think I might use it, and then the people who trust me will think I'm using it or I'm not using it, and I only bought it so that no one else could use it, and I'm really a good guy. This is going to make people vote for me more.
Would you vote for, like, if Bernie Sanders was like doing universal health care? Also, I have the Death Note and it's for real. Here, let me write Amy Klobuchar's name in it, and she's bad. And you're like, holy shit, Bernie Sanders has the actual Death Note. I don't know if that would be a vote. I don't know if that would make me more interested in voting for a candidate.
Well, it's just, again, it's more of the Death Note is shown to be true. I bought it so that no one else could use it.
I'm just asking you personally, if you would be more inclined to vote for a presidential candidate who also had the Death Note.
No.
No?
I mean, no, I wouldn't.
Inclined? The same inclined. Like, you're really more interested in their stance on, minimum wage, right?
Yeah, I want to know their politics.
Not whether or not they wield power over life and death.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I tell you, who else wields power over life and death? That's not true. Fictional life and death is Larian Studios, who is making Baldur's Gate 3 that we found out about last year, and we finally got it was like a 90-minute presentation at PAX. We knew this was coming. John did not watch any of it.
No, I didn't even know this was a thing.
I watched all of it.
Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of tuned out a little bit towards the end. So, first off, there's some, I don't really know how 5th edition D&D works, John. Like, I haven't played 5th edition. I stopped at 3.5 and never went into 4, never went to 5. So.
Yeah, I had 3.5. I've played 4th edition. I haven't played 5th edition, though Amanda has, surprisingly.
So the first thing that I noticed about this, well, first off, I guess I kind of skipped over it. There is an intro to this that is fucking unreal, where there's like an illithid that is putting these like tadpoles into people's eyes, and he's driving this gigantic ship that looks like it's like a snail with like tentacles coming out of it, and he goes up over this city, and he's like pulling people off of the city, and then these dragons come with Githyanki on them, and they attack the giant snail ship, and then the snail ship teleports, and then, like, it's amazing. Like, this opening cinematic, I wish we had time to watch the whole thing, but it goes on for a good, 5 minutes, and it's all rendered, and it's really cool. I think they're Githyanki that are riding the dragons. Anyway, this is some Forgotten Realms shit going on. But it turns out that, kind of like in Divinity Original Sin 2, your characters are the characters that were imprisoned by this illithid, and when his ship crashes, you escape and you wash up on the beach.
Makes sense.
Like you do in a video game, right? And then they're going to have a character creator, but like a Divinity Original Sin 2, they're also going to have specifically made characters that have specific story quests, so you can either play as one of them or you can make an original character. Being that it's Forgotten Realms, you can do tieflings, you can do like drows, half elves. They didn't even say everybody that they're doing. And then,
seems interesting.
A lot of it is they did say that you can put the camera in a third person kind of behind the back as opposed to the top down like old Baldur's Gate. The combat is all turn based, and it reminds me a lot of Divinity Original Sin 2 in that you have, but it is all 5th edition rules. I read an interview where they were like, this is built on 5th edition rules, and right now the tutorial that they did was like, the save function of the game is broken, and the guy actually wiped on the tutorial because he kind of fucked up too many times. But there's kind of like a move bar, and then there's like an action bar, and then there's like free actions like you can do in D&D, and then there's like spells and oils and all that stuff, which actually, you've never played Divinity Original Sin 2.
No.
That game fits really well with this style of combat where it's like turn-based, but there's not like a grid or anything. It's more just like you have a certain amount of movement actions, and then you can do stuff. I highly recommend. There's actually a really good thing. He put the cantrip for his main character to Ghost Hand. There's actually a point where he uses the Ghost Hand to shove an enemy off the side of a cliff and then like stun him and stuff. So there's a lot of that kind of RPG. Figure out what the fuck you're going to do. Things change from moment to moment depending on how things go. But it looks really good. Like did you Baldur's Gate? Did you play Baldur's Gate 1 or 2? Or Icewind Dale?
I don't think I ever did. Mostly I was like other types of RPGs.
Neverwinter Nights.
Neverwinter Nights I played. Neverwinter Nights was the fucking bomb diggity of the day.
But this looks, it looks so much like Divinity, in my opinion. Okay. It looks nice though. It's got a nice kind of, it's all 3D. It's got this kind of top down thing. There's a lot of like stealth mechanics. They showed a lot of mechanics off. We can't really go over it point by point because we got a whole shitload of things to get through. But it looks really nice.
Looks good from the video I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's good looking. It's got some nice dialogue choices, which Baldur's Gate has a lot of dialogue. The character that he's playing in this tutorial is a vampire.
Okay.
So there's some stuff that you could do with that. I'm trying to think of anything else. Like they did, somebody in the audience asked. They had some time for audience questions. Somebody in the audience asked whether because the Baldur's Gate has these very iconic characters. It's a very specific story about these gods and people and stuff. And they asked whether any of those characters were going to show back up. And he was like, "Well, we're not talking about that yet." So it's possible, but then this also seems like it's way different than the stuff that was going on. Yeah. My exposure to that is I listened to the Watch Out for Fireballs guys go through the entire story because I didn't want to sit down and play Baldur's Gate 2. But it looks really good. I think it looks really good. I was actually watching the YouTube chat as it went along, and YouTube chat, or a lot of people in the YouTube chat weren't having it, and I don't know why, really, because it looks like an RPG.
Is it even dice rolls in it?
Yep. Wow. There's you can do persuasion checks and stuff, and it's funny. There was even a part in here where when you crit somebody, because there's actually there's a little text window that actually, if you blow it up, it literally shows you the math that is being run for the individual dice rolls. Like when you attack, it just does it, but you can literally just see what your dice rolls were. There's one point where somebody crit, and when they crit, it literally stopped the game. A dice came up and rolled to 20, and it was bah! And then did a little cinematic for the super crit that literally exploded somebody into a blood fountain.
Nice.
I appreciate it. It's also interesting to me because I was thinking, John, what D&D I feel has gotten kind of out of, or it I feel like D&D kind of had a moment there, with the Baldur's Gate stuff and with Neverwinter Nights, and then it got into a lot of I don't know, hex-based dungeon crawlers and some expansions and stuff, and then the online game came out, but that it's been very kind of Warhammer 40K, where sometimes you get a good thing, but a lot of them are just.
You're talking about in video games.
Yeah, in video games.
Okay, yeah. Because right now, D&D is probably the most popular it's ever been. It's actual D&D.
Oh, pen and paper D&D.
Yeah, actual D&D is probably the most popular it's ever been right now because of Critical Role and all that shit.
Oh, right. Okay. But in any case.
So, that's perfect for a game like this to come out, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it looks and then part of Divinity Original Sin 2 was kind of this, what connects all the characters together. And in this one, it's the little. The thing that they shoved, the con bug that the Illithid shoved in all of them and all their eyeballs, So, yeah, I highly recommend anybody interested to take a look at this. I think that of all the developers that could be dealing with this, Larian has proven that they're good at this sort of thing. So, I don't have any real worries about this. It seems pretty exciting. The only thing that's a little frustrating is watching the guy playing. It seems like he got his party killed pretty hard, pretty fast. So, let's see from there. Also at PAX, well, I guess not at PAX, but maybe just during PAX, we got the second, I believe, of the Platinum 4, because there's the Platinum has this thing on their website where there's like 4 announcements. One of them was the Wonderful 101 Kickstarter. But we got a new one for a teaser for Project GG.
Yes.
So
both Matt and I are very excited about this.
I'm excited.
I'm just saying, I don't understand you're excited, but Matt is very excited. I am very excited. Literally, they didn't even have to show me this trailer to get me excited.
Yeah.
All they literally had to say was, Platinum Games, Hideki Kamiya?
Yes.
Kamiya?
Mm-hmm.
And third superhero franchise game.
Right.
And that's all I needed to hear. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm there. Let's go. Let's do it.
So it's an all CGI trailer, and it's basically like there's something gigantic, and there's a guy that seems like he turns into
kind of like an Ultraman style character.
Yeah, and there's like some kind of kaiju. They're all semi-obscured in fog. What I'm wondering is, okay, so the superhero like trilogy thing, quotey fingers trilogy, that's like Beautiful Joe,
Wonderful 101, and then
this, because the aesthetic in this trailer looks nothing like either Wonderful 101 or Beautiful Joe. Like, it looks completely different.
Yeah.
But it looks good. I mean, like, I'm a big fan of Kamiya. I not everything that Platinum does I love, but
I think it's great. I also was really, really kind of hyped for this when I saw the trailer and realized what it was, because I'm literally just sat down to start watching Ultraman Orb.
Oh, okay.
Recently,
yeah.
I'm in the middle of that, and then like to see the character kind of like when the character stands in front of the dog in the trailer and then does the hand gesture is very much a similar Ultraman hand gesture and starts to grow. It's like, oh my god,
yeah.
I am down for this.
So do we think this is going to be some kind of like you're a giant Ultraman fighting giant monsters type of thing? I'm just trying to think of how that would work, because that's always so slow, and Platinum games are always so fast.
That's why I'm like excited, because if it's like giant Ultraman style kaiju battles, but like with Platinum mechanics, oh man, I am excited.
I just imagine them cities are going to get wrecked, riggedy wrecked, son.
Yes, they are.
But yeah, we don't have very much more information than that. Of course, the one thing that was of note is that this is the first time in a while that Platinum is doing a self-published, completely independent, like no strings attached. It's not another franchise whose rules they have to deal with, or another publisher. Like, when they did Nier, right? They were doing the combat system for somebody else's game.
Yes,
I think that Astral Chain. I don't know what about Astral Chain, but like, because Astral Chain seems to me to be a whole just Platinum doing whatever the fuck Platinum wants.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, it was published by Nintendo.
Okay, so
Nintendo had some say in what
input. Okay, well,
I think that's the thing, is that even when they've done like their own licensed games, like Bayonetta or Bayonetta Astral Chain
2.
or Bayonetta 2 or Vanquish.
Well, Vanquish and Bayonetta were Sega, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like, even when it's like all these games, they're still answering to, like, what he was saying is that when it's published by somebody else, they still have to adhere to certain rule sets that the publisher states about that they want from the game.
Okay.
So they have to adhere to that, and also once they're done with the game, they hand it to the publisher, and then it's the publisher's job to promote, advertise, and get the game out there. This time, they're doing it all themselves, 100% of it themselves, which means the only limitations that they have on the game are themselves, but then also they are also responsible for advertising the game. And
all the rest of that stuff that is not just literally making a video game.
Yes.
But it looks, I don't know, I mean, the only other thing is everybody get a hold of your equines, because this is probably not going to be out for a while.
Oh, no.
This is very early on.
And they're still working on Bayonetta 3.
Yep. We actually got in an interview this week, they said they are still working on Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
So they're also opening up a new studio. So Platinum Games is in Osaka, and they're opening up a Tokyo studio that is going to be focusing specifically on live service games. They talked about how their games they're well known as a company that makes single player, kind of action, like fast action games, right? But that they want to kind of dip their toe into an ongoing kind of live service model type of games, and given that they're giving that a shot. I guess maybe it seems to me like the response to the Wonderful 101 announcement really kind of emboldened Platinum to just be like, fuck it, man, let's go for it.
Well, the thing is, I don't know if you've been keeping up with that Kickstarter.
No.
They originally only asked for like $40,000, like $50,000, somewhere in between there.
Right.
Like that was all they were asking for the Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
They're currently up to $1.75 million.
There you go.
If not higher as of us speaking.
People like Wonderful 101.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's that. We've got the new studio coming out. Also, Bayonetta 3 is continuing to be worked on, which is good. I want to see some Bayonetta 3, God damn it, because I've been waiting. Well, there's other things. You guys got your Ultraman and the Wonderful 101 release. I want Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta is my favorite Platinum Games game, and I want another one, and I want it now, God damn it. I want it now. Or just a trailer, or just some gameplay, or like something. I want something. Hopefully one of those 4 will be them. In other PAX news, we also got a big drop from Yacht Club Games.
Yes.
Doing, I think it was like a couple things. One of them is Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, which is a really strange looking game that looks kind of like a cross between, I don't know, like Puzzle Fighter and Crypto the Necrodancer almost. Yeah. It very much has the Shovel Knight kind of going through this area that looks like a Tetris field or like a Puzzle Fighter field, but then you have an avatar that you're literally moving around to attack and make like connect enemies into certain patterns to get bonuses. It's kind of inscrutable from this trailer exactly what the hell is going on. It's funny, though, because I was thinking about how this I think everybody forgot about there was the other Shovel Knight game, right? The one that's coming that's the procedurally generated kind of digging game whose name I forgot. But yeah, it looks pretty good. What I'm more interested in, though, is we got another trailer for Cyber Shadow, which looks absolutely, positively, 100% my jam. It's got ninjas. It's got the future. It's got ninjas in the future.
It seems to have a very Ninja Gaiden, Metroid-esque feel to it.
Yep. I am 100% down. Like I was saying, the trailer for this is so much like a trailer for like an NES game that it looks a lot like Ninja Gaiden or Kabuki Quantum Fighter or something like that.
Yeah, something like
that. But this is being published by Yacht Club, not made by them, but I'm still super, super interested.
It still looks really good.
I mean, I'm getting like somebody in the comments or in the live stream or somewhere, I saw somebody write that if you told me this was The Messenger 2, I would totally believe you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks incredible. I don't know. I don't know what it is. This kind of 8-bit NES style, or the kind of pixel style, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of games do it, and some of them do it well. But this one, I guess in specific, it seems like the color palette they used is very much like
also
the
this
NES.
Looks more 16-bit, like SNES.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm getting big 8-bit vibes off of it, like late 8-bit Ninja Gaiden style vibes.
Okay.
But I don't know. In any case, you can go check that out, and it looks super good. Let's see. Also, we got a trailer for a new Harmonix game.
Yeah.
What was the last? Did they ever come out with that like beat-based multiplayer shooter game or whatever that they were talking about a million years ago?
Oh no, I don't know.
What was the last Platinum? What was the last Harmonix game?
Technically, it was Drop Mix, which was a mobile game that had its own peripheral and cards.
Oh, okay.
which this seems to be a console version of Drop Mix.
Okay.
So I'm all I have Drop Mix and it's fucking great.
Okay.
And I fucking am all for what this looks like.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because there's this really long live action trailer of this lady dancing around, putting colors on all kinds of stuff. That like really,
but it's also got like its music being interwoven together, much in the same way that you do in Drop Mix.
Yeah,
like you can make this similar tracks do that, and then then it shows them standing in front of like a DJ with multiple, like a multicolored turntable thing,
right?
That is totally in the same color layout as the Drop Mix board.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's also like, so it's like DJ Hero meets Drop Mix meets something new, and you don't need any peripherals for it. You just need your controller and the game, and ooh, I am so happy for that.
Yeah. So what it is it's literally
it's totally
like,
Drop Mix. The card things at the top are totally from Drop Mix.
Okay.
Yeah. No. You just showed a thing of them actually like playing like a demo of it, and yeah, no, it's 100% a digital version of Drop Mix.
Okay. So for anybody who doesn't know, you basically have you're basically DJing. You have like these 4 pads, and each one of them represents like a different thing. You've got vocals, you've got lead guitar, you've got bass, and you've got like a drum track. And then at the top, there's a whole bunch of individual songs, and you can pick like, you know, the drum track from what are some of the Rock the Casbah, and like the lyrics from Old Town Road, and the guitar from Born This Way, and the bass from Rockefeller Skank. And strangely, I was telling John about this 13 minutes, just showing the tutorial for it. They work really, really well together.
No, they do. It's very interesting in how it does it. Again, and I'm using Drop Mix as a base of reference here, because you can. It's just as crazy. But yeah, no, I'm now that I'm actually like seeing it in motion and in use, like I am 100% down for this.
The other thing is, it seems like it has a 5-star like kind of like Rock Band style like rating, but the way that works is apparently on the right hand side of the screen there'll be requests from the audience of like play something from the 90s, and so then if you add something into that track that is from the 90s, or like play something with like lots of guitar, or change the guitar, and then as you like complete those requests, then the meter goes up and up and up and up and up, and you get a higher score. You can also do things like add 2 drum tracks in. I can see, depending on how big the music library is for this, it getting really, really complicated the further it goes up the tree.
Yeah. And I also wouldn't be surprised if there's also some function where you can save like your mixes and actually like share them so other people can hear them or whatnot.
I believe they have said exactly that. Yeah.
Because that's also something you can do in Drop Mix.
But can I use my DJ Hero turntable?
No.
I want to use my DJ Hero turntable.
But can you even hook up your DJ Hero turntable to your PS?
It's USB. It's got a dongle.
Okay.
Write a patch. Sony, let me do this.
But they didn't make DJ Hero.
Well,
DJ Hero is Activision.
Well, don't tell Activision. Don't tell Activision.
All right.
I don't want to have another 8 Blizzard stories. All right. I didn't even keep the story about like it's Mardi Gras on Overwatch. Yeah, the only thing that I'm kind of curious about this is that I feel like Harmonix has been chasing like a big hit since Rock Band kind of finished, right? Like they had the Rock Band, what was it called? Like the one where you play it by yourself and you switch between the tracks.
Blitz.
But I don't know. I wonder.
Well, so here's the funny thing you got to remember is that Harmonix has predominantly always made music-based games.
Yeah.
Like, even before Rock Band, they were... I forget what it was called, but it was actually a music-based thing for the PS2. I keep wanting to say Amplitude, but I don't think it was Amplitude.
I think it was Amplitude.
Might have been. No, you're right. It was.
Frequency and Amplitude?
Yeah.
Was that when they were Red Octane? Because it was Red Octane that did Guitar Hero, and then I feel like Activision bought them out, and then like the core of them went and formed Harmonix. I could be getting that all wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I
Guitar Hero VR, right? That was a thing, wasn't it?
Rock Band VR.
Rock Band VR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. This looks like...
and then they also did another VR music-based thing. I can't remember what it was called.
And they did the Fantasia. Did they do that? Wasn't that them?
Maybe.
On the Xbox?
I don't know.
The Kinect one? Anyway,
And then they did Dance Central.
Oh yeah, Dance Central. This looks real fun. I would be willing to play this. It looks, and then apparently it's going to be like, you're going to earn new cosmetics and stages and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, it looks fun. It looks like a fun game.
Yeah, I'm down for this. Like I am excited.
100%.
Like I didn't know I could get as excited as I am for this game.
Yeah.
Until I saw the trailer for this game and I was excited. And now you're showing me like gameplay footage, and I'm like totally excited, like even more excited.
Yeah.
So
John's excited, y'all. That's his excited voice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go from sick drops to sick people, because there's like 8 different coronavirus stories, and we have to take a very brief moment to talk about them. So last week, we got news that Sony was canceling their PAX. They're not going to PAX. And we got some more cancellations that are actually happening. But there was a really strange thing that happened. This is a really bizarre thing. The mayor of Boston, who was where PAX East, is that right?
Yeah.
Was supposed to be, like, wrote this public statement,
open letter
to Sony saying, like, Sony, don't give in to the harmful stereotypes, like, these reinforce like negative cultural associations with people from Asia. Like, you need to come and be here. It was very strangely worded. Like, here's a quote. These fears reinforce harmful stereotypes that generations of Asians have worked hard to dismantle. They trigger our worst impulses to view entire groups of people with suspicion, to close ourselves off, and to miss out on the opportunities and connections our global city provides. Boston is united in our efforts to dispel these harmful and misguided fears. I could be completely and totally off base here, and I really ask anybody to tell me, but like, I've never really run into a stereotype of like, Asians, the way that they're always spreading disease to everybody. I don't really see that as a thing. Like, I don't even think I've ever, and it's possible that I'm just ignorant of this and that it's totally out there.
Yeah.
But like the idea that this is a cultural / like racist, that this is reinforcing like some kind of cultural stereotype about uncleanliness or diseased people from Asia, which I again is just not a thing that I feel like I have ever run into.
Yeah,
it seemed very strange. Now, on the other side, I think there's a real argument about like, Sony, we want you to be showing the video games to get the people very excited at the PAX East. Please come to our city so the tourists will come and spend the money. Yeah. Like, I don't know. This is a very weird one for me, because I read this and, we don't talk about it as much, but I think it comes through. We're all from Austin. We're all a bunch of leftersons over here. I don't understand this. I don't get this. I don't get this. Like, Sony, you're reinforcing this weird cultural stereotype.
It's a weird
thing.
one.
I don't really understand it very much at all. So if somebody knows, if somebody can explain it to me, I welcome the, sometimes, John, you don't know about a thing, and then somebody tells you the thing, and then you're more smarts for it. But this is one that I do not entirely understand at all.
I don't know.
Especially, though, that this also came out last week, and I feel like since then, with the whole coronavirus thing, we've seen a lot of, like, it's spreading a lot faster, and it's spreading into places where people like Italy right now and stuff like that. So, and the problem, of course, being that it's asymptomatic. So it's not like, and that cons are just
breeding ground for disease.
Right.
And
we say con crud, right? Like, whenever you go to the times when we went to E3, I'm pretty sure I always came back and I was sick. Matt Frank goes to places, and we're not even talking about like, we're talking about just like on a regular day, go to a convention and you've got 100 people and somebody's got a fucking cold and it hasn't presented symptoms yet. And so they're just passing it around to everybody. And then I got a cold now too. Thanks a bunch. So, in any case, speaking of PAX, CD Projekt Red, Capcom, and PUBG are also all not going to PAX East this year because, at this point, I don't know. Like, I have a hard time. I feel like I saw some shit on Twitter with people, like when Sony first announced that they weren't going to PAX, of people being like, they're just not going there because they don't have anything to show. Man up, Sony, come to PAX, you cowards. And I'm like, well, if you were a company, you wouldn't want to like send the employees that are going to be giving these demonstrations to places where they might come back with some kind of illness that's good. I mean, even if it was just regular illness, right?
Also, if they didn't have anything to show, they would just be like, we don't have anything to show, because Sony's done that.
Yeah.
Sony's been like, hey, we don't have anything to show, so we're not going to go.
Yeah. I think the big thing was that there was an expectation that The Last of Us 2 was either going to be playable or they were going to have a big announcement at PAX East this year. So, and you know how people are about The Last of Us. They love it. Okay, so that's PAX, and that's the coronavirus, and that's PAX. Now let's talk about the coronavirus and GDC.
Yep.
Because GDC, let's see, Microsoft isn't going, Epic isn't going, Unity isn't going,
Kojima Productions isn't going.
Yeah, Kojima's not going.
Sony's not going.
Yeah. They kind of got to wonder who the fuck is left at GDC.
Yeah.
Or at a certain point, if enough of your competitors aren't going, I don't know.
Well, it's like, I know that the head of GDC actually like came out and was like, don't worry, the Game Developers Conference is still happening and we're going to move forward like nothing has changed. You know, we understand the reasons why they're not coming and that's perfectly fine, but we're not, you know, we're not abandoning ship and we're going to keep moving forward. And I'm like, yeah, but who's going to be there?
It also starts to bring up a really interesting question, which is in this particular day and age of streaming and how you get put on. I mean, like GDC, even like if CD Projekt Red was scheduled to give a talk at GDC, why not just Skype them in?
Well, that's the thing. Microsoft is doing that,
right?
Microsoft is doing that, and it's being put online.
Yeah,
with basically every panel that they were planning on doing, they're just going to stream online.
Sure.
So, like, Microsoft is doing that.
Why not just do that for reals and not even have a GDC? I mean, like, why put a bunch of meat spaces all together and then they cough on each other when you could just put it all on Twitch and I could watch it as well as them. So, but yeah, we'll have to see whether GDC this year ends up being kind of anything. So
yeah, I mean, but we don't really get any major announcements from GDC.
Not really.
It's more just developers meeting together, and if anything, that's where console makers will sometimes give more specs out about their upcoming consoles.
Yeah,
when they have a console coming up, but even then, like that's still limited.
Yeah, well, but it could be kind of big this year, right? Because we've got the Series X, we've got the PS5, so like getting more information there could have actually been a really big thing.
Which I do know Microsoft. That was one of the things Microsoft was planning on doing, is a whole panel about giving more information about the Series X.
Yeah.
So that's one of the streams that's going to happen.
I guess, we should maybe, I mean, we're almost to the end of February, right? We got March, April, May, June. June is E3.
Yeah. I'm wondering, we already know Sony and Nintendo and...
Well, Sony and Nintendo aren't going to be there. Microsoft is going to be there. Yeah. Devolver Digital's in the parking lot. I think EA is doing an offsite thing, or maybe not. I can't remember.
Yeah.
E3 is kind of crumbling a little bit already.
And I'm wondering how soon we're going to get, hey, there's no E3 this year because of coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, it also depends on what happens with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Also, just as a quick public service announcement, it is, should go, and everybody should go out, educate yourself about what the actual coronavirus is.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that the death toll for just like the flu every year is higher. This isn't like a zombie apocalypse situation.
Yeah.
Like people are going to get sick, and in first world countries, the death rate is extremely low.
Yeah.
You're going to go to the doctor,
and it's not. And the way I've understood it for companies not sending people out to conventions and whatnot has been less of a, hey, we're worried about our employees catching this and dying. Mm-hmm. And it's more of, we're worried that our developers or people are going to go out, they're going to get sick, and then that's going to impact their work.
Sure.
Which is, is that capitalistic? Sure. But,
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm a real big fan of staying home from work when you're sick. That's the other thing I'll say is, don't be an Iron Man and take Dayquil and then go to work and cough all over everybody and then make everybody at your work sick. Stay the fuck home and keep your sickness inside of your house where it belongs.
But what if you work from home, Jeff?
Well, then just close the door and, or I don't know, lick all the doorknobs and get everybody in your house sick, and then you'll all be sick and it's fine because there's only 3 people and it's not.
Is that what you do? When you get sick, you just lick all the doorknobs in your house?
John, I don't get sick. I don't interact enough with other human beings to get sick. Like
You've been sick.
Okay, I've been.
It's
slightly.
maybe not frequent, but there have been times where you've been sick.
Yeah, once
and I'm
a
wanting
year.
to know: are you licking the doorknobs in your house, Jeff?
Maybe slightly. Sometimes it depends on how much I've had to drink. And,
I've touched those doorknobs.
Like sometimes,
and I really wish I hadn't. Now I need a shower.
Why do you think I open all the doors with my feet? I just kick open doors.
That's even worse because now your foot fungus is going to be all over the doorknobs.
No, I use my foot to turn the doorknob open.
Yeah, now it's all covered in your foot fungus.
Yeah, but that's all right because I lick my foot first to make sure that it's sterile.
God damn it!
No, it's fine. It's fine. Well, if that cocktail of disease didn't put you off. Maybe you're interested in playing Plague Incorporated, which is all about making custom diseases and seeing how many people they can kill. Not if you're in China, though, because China has basically put the kibosh and taken Plague Incorporated off of their store, their app store, which apparently it's really big in China.
Yeah.
And then apparently Plague Incorporated is working to, the company behind Plague Incorporated is working to try to get it back up there. But, as we've discussed a lot of times before, China doesn't really have much of a sense of humor about, well, anything at all. So, you make a game where the goal of the game is to make the most deadly virus humanly possible. You got a population suffering from a pandemic. China's got no sense of humor. So,
yeah.
Got no sense of humor. All right. I don't remember what my transition was for this one. So, speaking of China, let's talk about Apex Legends. It works.
Sure, I guess.
Don't question me.
I'm not questioning it.
So apparently,
judging, but not questioning.
Apparently, some data miners have been looking at Apex Legends and have discovered that it's possible in the next round of updates that Apex Legends might be adding a very controversial weapon.
A Titan?
No. The pistol from Titanfall 1 and 2 that auto-locks onto people and then fires, that you don't have to aim, where you just have to put the hexagon over kind of where they are, let it lock on, and then hit the button and you get an instant shot on them. So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. I don't really play Apex Legends at this point. I don't really play any battle royale game at this point, but apparently the community is not extremely happy about the possibility of this being implemented back into the game. I always kind of liked it in Titanfall 1.
You would.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just joking.
I'm not any good at aiming or shooting or playing video games or, seeing stuff, doing stuff. I need it done for me.
It checks out.
Yeah. Yeah, like a baby's toy. Speaking of unhappy people, last week EA made a bunch of people unhappy by banning one of their top FIFA streamers. Not just they basically banned his EA account across all games, as near as I could tell. Now this particular character, Kurt0411 Fennec, something like that, was a FIFA streamer. He at one point, not too long ago in November of last year, he was in an actual esports game of FIFA. One of the person he was playing against used a goal thing that is cheap apparently in the game, at which point he basically just threw down his controller and walked out of the esports thing. The EA Esports Association gave him a 2-month ban for that, at which point he basically started streaming FIFA and then just talking shit about EA and FIFA all day, every day.
Okay.
He did a thing where there was one that I watched where he had a scarf, like one of the soccer scarves that had the EA logo on it. When he was playing, he would just get it and spit on the EA logo. Apparently, after his original ban, there was his 2-month ban. There was a bunch of the EA community folks whose Twitter accounts got hacked. And generally, this guy just, so it's interesting because this led me down a rabbit hole that I didn't know, John. But you know how WWE 2K is?
Garbage?
Where everybody's dissatisfied with it all the time,
yeah,
but it still comes out every year?
Yeah.
Well, apparently this has also been going on FIFA. I wouldn't know.
Yearly sports games, yeah.
Yeah. And that the current the current version of FIFA is full of bugs, full of badness, full of crap. And this guy apparently did not like that. So he would play it, he would stream it. He was like the second most popular FIFA streamer on Twitch. And then afterwards, he would just talk about how much of a piece of shit EA was as a company, and everybody who worked for them is garbage, and they're shitty and whatnot. And then EA banned him. So, like, it's weird because I'm kind of two minds with this. Where, like, I can definitely understand banning him out of the esports community events.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can agree with banning him from the
all games.
Yeah.
Well.
Like, you know, at a certain point, you can't control the narrative of if you made a game and people have a problem with that game, you can't just lock them out of their accounts if they don't like the game. Now, EA put out a statement where they basically kind of framed the whole thing as like, you know, we're trying to create an inclusive community with FIFA. We don't like this kind of negativity, et cetera, so we banned him. He's really kind of a shit. Like, I watched some of his videos, and he's kind of just, you know, kind of unpleasant human. Like, I understand you don't like it. Play PES. Play some other game. Like, if you don't like the game so much, quit streaming it and then complaining about it all the live long goddamn day, just every day. I don't know. It's like, if you don't like it, just stop it. Don't hate play a video game. But on the other hand, I do think that you should be allowed to just... I don't know. There's also some. I looked through a bunch of articles, and there was a lot where there were sentences that read like, "This guy encouraged the people that were watching him to go harass people who worked for EA."
Yeah, that's too far.
Which is too far. But the problem is that I couldn't really get down to the specifics of what that meant. So, like, I don't really know what that means. That can mean a lot of things online. Between, like, here's somebody's Twitter account, go fuck with them, to just, like, somebody ought to do something about these idiots over at EA, and then somebody does, and then it's like, well, he was inciting them to do the thing. It's hard without seeing the exact thing to know for sure. But, you know, nobody's ever accused EA of being, like, a magnanimous company that is full of easygoing people that don't take things super, super badly. So... well, I tell you what. Let's go from a bad EA story to a good EA story, John, or kind of a good.
There are such a thing.
There's kind of. So this week, Star Wars Battlefront 2 added a new update called the Age of Rebellion, which added in co-op maps for to the Empire, Rebels, and then the Clone Wars, Senate, and the Separatists. So it used to be that the co-op modes were just like We're just the new trilogy. We're just the First Order and the Resistance.
Okay.
And then they've added a whole bunch of new maps that are in the classic stuff. They're maps that have already existed, but they've kind of been tweaked a little bit. So you get the 4-player co-op. They've also added in some new classes, like the Empire got a like an Imperial Inquisitor, and the Rebels got an Ewok.
Nice.
From the Ewok mode that they've done before, the Ewok escape mode or whatever. And this is all a big free update. They also added in a couple new weapons, and I actually played some of this. The cool thing about these modes is that you can play co-op and level up and get more equipment. Nice. And like, you don't have to play online to do that. And they're kind of fun. I mean, they're just like these little 4-player co-op games. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. But it's pretty fun. Also, I really like being an Ewok. I didn't think I would say this, but they have a bow and arrow as their main attack, and it auto-locks, but you can also aim it manually, and then they've got the little horn that does little Ewok, like...
The Valiant horn?
Yep. Which makes you like a target to the enemies, but also ups your damage. It's pretty fun. Like, it's just pretty fun. So, you know... if you still have Star Wars Battlefront 2, or if you have an EA Origin account, I don't know. It's not the worst game. I mean, I don't really want to play it online, but, like, you know, you level up pretty fast. You get points pretty fast. Played a couple games this afternoon. Wasn't that bad. So, yeah. So, let's go from the online madness that is EA to the online madness of PUBG. Apparently, John, PUBG is dying.
Yeah.
Like quickly now, not slowly anymore, but quickly. Like it's gone from like 1 million concurrent users to like 250,000 concurrent users.
Jesus.
And the reason for this is because apparently the community is really mad that Bluehole has been doing content updates and not like fixing bugs that have been around for years now, like updating the way that the game moves, especially when you've got games like Fortnite and like Apex that are really quick, really spry. Apparently PUBG still plays really clunkily like it did when it first came out. Wow. And that they haven't really done a lot to like streamline it. Apparently there's also been some pretty major DDoS attacks against PUBG and their servers. And the problem is that the measures that they put on the servers to prevent DDoS attacks slow down people's connection to the actual game and make the game laggy. So they're in like a rock and a hard place where if they like make the connections really speedy, then they're opening themselves up to more DDoS attacks. But if they protect themselves against the DDoS attacks, then the people connecting to try to legit play the game are having a bad experience. Yeah. And all this means that
less people are going to play.
Less people are going to play, especially when you consider that like Apex and Fortnite are free. And as I can tell, I think PUBG still costs money.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to wonder whether PUBG's days are numbered because when you give people the other choices that are better, they tend to take them. So, all right, let's see what we're going at. Oh, time to put it into high gear. You ready?
All right, let's go.
All right. We got some new Resident Evil 3 remake screens last week. With some pretty cool looking stuff. A lot of it is there was a video that was online that showed Nemesis like jumping and running and not just Mr. X walking, but like literally quickly pursuing you. Nice. There's some other kind of cool screenshots of the resistance mode that show some kind of like more, I don't know, it's kind of like neon. There's like a diner, like some mummies and shit. It looks like a real weird, looks like one of those weird-ass Capcom things. But the big news is that we're getting a demo for it. So just like the RPD demo that they had for Resident Evil 2, we're going to be getting a demo for it. I got my eyes open any day now. It's going to be coming out, and we'll be able to play it.
Okay.
But so a good reason to take a look at the game before it comes out. And then let's see. Also, in upcoming game news, there was a really interesting story last week about Cyberpunk 2077, where CD Projekt Red came out and said that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be doing like the only example I can think of is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, where if you buy Cyberpunk on the Xbox One X, that you can use that copy on an Xbox Series X and it'll upgrade to the Series X version for free.
Yeah.
So you don't have to buy another copy. There's not going to be a separated version. It's going to be one version that'll work on either system.
Yeah.
Which is good news because, who wants to buy a game over again? All right, let's see. We got some trailers. We also got a Samurai Jack Battle Through Time trailer. John, did you Samurai Jack?
I am a fan of the Samurai Jack.
Okay. Did you watch the
I didn't watch the newest
stuff,
the newest season because unfortunately I didn't have Cartoon Network at the time.
Okay.
But I am a big fan of the Samurai Jack, and I hope this game is good.
Yeah. Apparently, there's only been one other game, and it was kind of bad.
Oh, it was very bad.
This one doesn't exactly look like the most.
No, it doesn't. But
bestest game of all time. This just seems like kind of a third-person action game with 3D character models. Seems like the sort of game that would have been ripe for cell shading, right?
Yeah.
Considering how bright the cartoon is. But
yeah.
Who am I? I don't know nothing. But yeah, for all you Samurai Jack fans, you're gonna get some more Samurai Jack. Did you watch Primal?
I did not.
Okay,
that's again didn't have
Cartoon Network. Let's see. We also got a trailer for Zarude, the rogue monkey Pokemon.
That's coming to Sword and Shield at some point in the near future, if it's not already out.
The only reason I kept this in here is I looked at it and I was like, it's a monkey Pokemon. He's a leaf type.
He's an evil fucking looking monkey Pokemon. He's like a cross between a monkey and a gremlin.
Oh yeah, he does kind of look like a gremlin, doesn't he? He's got Wolverine hair too.
He's got like sharp claws and teeth, like you just maul and eat any person that came across.
Yeah, he's also. But this was #1 on YouTube trending for gaming, and I was like, really? Like the 50-second here's a new Pokemon video for Pokemon that isn't even out yet? Yeah, okay.
It might be out now, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay. We also got a trailer for Alien Hominid Invasion. The Behemoth finally has another game coming out.
Yeah.
It's been a million years since Pit People came out.
It's a sequel to Alien Hominid.
Yep. It looks like a real 4-player slam bang, bash 'em up, having a good time thing.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be interested in playing this when it comes out. And let's see. We also got a very brief teaser for Predator Hunting Grounds, since there's a trial coming out for it in March 27th through the 29th. Boy, this one is. I just can't tell with this one, man.
Yeah.
Like it like those. It could be good. Who knows? I like Predator a lot, but I kind of like just the first Predator movie a lot, and then like everything else, I'm kind of like, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah. I will say I'm worried that this movie is too little, too late.
This game.
Yeah, this game is too little, too late.
Yeah.
It really should have come out like 2-3 years ago.
Back when we were still grappling with the asynchronous multiplayer question.
Yeah. Now it just kind of seems like, who cares?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out on March 27th, apparently.
All right.
So, maybe we'll have to do like a super awesome video game show on it.
Maybe.
We also got a trailer for the final character, Streets of Rage 4.
Streets of Rage!
Which is Floyd Iriah, who looks pretty cool. And then this trailer also showed that it's going to have online
2-player co-op and then local 4-player co-op.
Yep. Streets of Rage 4 looks amazing.
It does. It looks really good.
I cannot wait to play it. It looks absolutely freaking incredible.
I will say I am a little bummed at the lack of blades.
What do you mean?
The character, Blades. He's not in the game.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Mind you, he was only in Streets of Rage 2, maybe 3, if I remember correctly.
I think it was 3.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I know he was in either...
Was he in 2? He was definitely in 2?
Yeah, he was definitely in 2.
Okay.
Or it's either... He was either in 1 and 2 and then wasn't in 3, or he was in 1 and 3. Or 2 and 3.
I think he was in 2 and 3. If he was in 2 games, I think it was 2 and 3.
Because his older brother was in the first game, if I'm not mistaken. And then he was in the second game looking for his brother.
I don't know. I do not remember. All right, so let's wrap up with a couple quick things.
I'll admit my story memory of Streets of Rage is very hazy.
Yeah, you don't remember every single detail of Streets of Rage?
Unfortunately not.
I kind of feel like it's a coin flip. I feel like you would either know everything or not be able to remember anything.
Yeah.
Wonderful 101 has remastered has release date. So May 19th is when we're getting Wonderful 101.
That's soon.
It is.
And the Kickstarter's not even, as of recording this, the Kickstarter is not over.
Yep.
It doesn't end until not next week Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is quick.
That is quick. Well, I mean, maybe they had it all ready. They were just like, we just did this in a weekend.
I think they had most of it ready.
Yeah.
If not all of it.
I'm going to be interested to see how it feels, because I was never the biggest fan in the world of the whole drawing the shapes part. Like, I kind of rather just have an option to switch between the different things instead of having to do it. But they did that in Okami too, right? Where you had to draw stuff with the right stick, which I've never been a huge fan of. But we'll check it out. We'll see. Let's see. Good Old Games rolled out a new refund policy that is very, very generous.
Okay.
Apparently, GOG now says that if you refund a game you can refund a game within 30 days, and it doesn't matter how much you played it.
Oh, okay, that's actually nice.
But they also have some kind of language here that says that they reserve the right to basically say nah, which I think is to protect them from basically just. You play the game, you beat the game, you refund the game. You play the game, you beat the game, you refund the game.
Yeah, if they see you've done it enough times.
Yeah, that they might just say,
can just go nah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that's better than anybody else has.
Yeah.
Like right now, Steam is pretty easy going, but I don't know. There's so many good reasons to use GOG, and yet I still don't for some reason.
Well, there you go.
But and then next to last, but next to not least, Cuphead.
got a mod this week.
Nice.
From somebody to basically make an easy mode for Cuphead. What this is it basically gives you 6 hit points instead of 3, a 1.5x damage boost, and 40 coins when you start the game to just buy whatever you want to. So instead of having to kind of work up to it, you just kind of start out with a leg up on Cuphead.
Okay.
So if you've always wanted to play Cuphead and you've got it on the PC, but you found it to be too hard, maybe give it a shot. I always thought that Cuphead, I personally am an advocate for easy mode because, like, my ex really, really loved the look of Cuphead, but she did not want to play a punishingly difficult video game.
Amanda loves Cuphead.
Yeah.
She bought it on her Switch.
Yes.
She still plays it very regularly.
Did she beat it?
I don't know if she's beaten it. I don't think she's beaten it, but she plays it a lot. She kind of is one of those people that likes games, and if they're really hard, she will just... It depends on how much she likes the game itself, like the gameplay aesthetic and all that.
Sure.
But if it's hard, she'll just continue to play it and just keep playing it.
Yeah.
So...
Okay. And finally, it wouldn't be a Rage Select podcast unless we talked about Red Dead Redemption 2. So apparently, John, there's a new thing that people have found out how to do in Red Dead Redemption 2 called vomit roping. Where there is a herb that if you eat it, will make Arthur throw up. This is in the single-player game. And if you eat it, and then right as the throwing up animation starts, you fall off the side of a cliff, a rope of vomit will come out of Arthur, go back up to where you were, you land on the ground, finish the vomit animation, and don't take any damage. So last week we had a story about NPCs acting weird. This week we got a story about Arthur Morgan throwing up. Red Dead Redemption 2 is truly the gift that keeps on giving.
Yes, it is.
So you go check that out online. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to answer the questions. So stick around. Time for questions. Mail at rageselect.com is the email address to sending your questions to. John, are you not ready for questions?
I am ready for questions.
Okay. I was hoping to flip it around on the backwards. All right. Well, our first question this week comes in from Jonathan. Jonathan writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and John. Jonathan again. Thank you for the help and sounding board regarding the best games from this gen for intermittent gaming. I'm leaning heavily towards the Switch. Mine will end up being docked, so a Pro Controller is a must. Any other Switch accessories that you couldn't live without? Bit of a thought experiment. I love listening to movie soundtracks. Listening to one immediately draws a picture of the movie or a specific scene in my mind. Batman 89, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Jaws, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly all come to mind. This can extend to TV shows and video games. Band of Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Ocarina of Time. It's likely nostalgia and the love of the source material, but I find the two inseparable. If I missed seeing the movie but heard the music, it would be great music but not as impactful. What music and source material do you find inseparable? As an inverse, what music from a movie or video game do you others love that don't impact you, either not enjoying it or not playing it, watching it? Cheers! And that's from Jonathan.
There's a lot of questions in there.
Yeah. Let's go with anything for the Switch that is a must outside of a Pro Controller.
I mean, for me, that's kind of the big one, is the Pro Controller.
I did buy the wired network adapter, which helps out because I download a lot of stuff. So that's not a bad one. I think. Do you have like a case?
I do have a carrying case. Well, I don't have a case protector, but I have a carrying case for when I want to take it with me places.
Okay.
And not docked. But he said he's going to leave it predominantly docked. So, I mean, having a carrying case is probably good just to have one.
Yeah.
So that if you ever decide to take it out of its dock and take it on the road with you.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty hardy, though. Even out of a case. Like, it's a pretty hardy little unit.
I mean, the only other thing I can think of is that I have a charge stand that's literally just basically a portable cable that you can actually plug into a wall outlet so that the thing can charge, and then a stand that it can sit on.
Right. So that you can play it undocked, but have it be charging at the same time. So you play it undocked, but it's not running on battery because I got the kickstand.
Yeah.
But you can't charge it, and then the charging port's in the bottom.
Yeah.
So you need kind of a special thing to do it. Yeah. I think I could see that being a thing.
But yeah, other than that, I don't have a lot of accessories for my.
I mean, obviously you need the Wii Ring. You need the Fit ring. Mine isn't even out anymore.
Yeah.
So you can get all fit.
Any Nintendo Labo.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. The VR Labo is real nice. It's a real fun kit.
I actually do have. I just thought about it because it was because of Labo. I do have an accessory that I've never used, or at least I tried to use it and it didn't work out as much as I liked it. Is I actually have a cardboard arcade style stand.
Right.
You can slide the Switch into and have the controllers on like where they would be on like an arcade.
Right.
It's like a little tiny cardboard arcade cabinet.
Do you use it?
I've used it like once to try to play like Final Fight, and it didn't really work out too well.
There was like a Neo Geo unit that was like a little arcade machine, right? But then you could like plug it into a TV and stuff.
I have that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was the Neo Geo Mini.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I would start with just the basic stuff, and I don't know. The network adapter can be nice if you're downloading a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's faster than over Wi-Fi, but other than that, yeah. Pro Controller, though, is...
Yeah, Pro Controller is a must.
Good.
Outside of that, that's about it.
Yeah. Okay, so music, soundtracks. Is there a soundtrack? Let's see. Is there... Seeing the movie, blah, 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 blah. What music and source material do you find inseparable? I mean, I don't know. That's kind of an interesting question because... I feel like most music that is specific to a franchise, like I don't listen to outside of that franchise. So or it's not associated in my brain with anything except for that. Like I love the music for Bastion, but it's like I love it because it's part of Bastion. I would never just listen to it, or I don't think I would listen to it and then think about anything except for Bastion.
Yeah, like anything from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack is instinctively Spider-Man because most of those tracks are from that movie or for that movie. Now, there's a few songs that are not from that movie that are just in the movie.
Yeah.
But
there've been I'm trying to think, man. I'm trying to think. There was a time. There was something. God damn it! There was something where like I took a soundtrack. And then I would play a game on the PS4 and then open Spotify and make like some other soundtrack. Like the music for the game wasn't especially interesting, and so
well, I know you used to listen to when playing Broforce. You used to listen to that amalgam of every montage theme song.
Yeah, the Blood Bros.
Yeah, the Blood Bros. Thing.
Volume 1.
Yeah, which I actually listened to that because you were like no, you put that on and then start playing. It
was the first Patreon. I can't have it anymore because YouTube struck it off of the channel. But like that was the first Patreon video that I made. Was basically just like me, no commentary, me playing Broforce while that soundtrack went in the background. No, but there was something else where I feel like I took.
I used to do stuff like that with No Man's Sky.
Okay,
like I would load up No Man's Sky and Sony did the integration with Spotify on the PlayStation.
Right.
So I would have like a soundtrack. I had created like this otherworldly soundtrack playlist on Spotify that I would have playing while I'm playing No Man's Sky.
Mm-hmm. I had a soundtrack that I used to put up all the time when I used to get drunk and then play Bloodborne, but I didn't want to listen to the Bloodborne soundtrack. I wanted to listen to mostly X Gonna Give It To You on repeat whilst playing.
I remember that now that I'm thinking about it.
In fact, I even made a character in Bloodborne that kind of looks like DMX. And then I would always call him X, and then I would play it. And the whole thing was I would play the game until I died, and then when I died, I would delete that character and start over again and start the playlist over again. But it had like 4 different things. It also had some Wu-Tang Clan in there and a few other things. I don't know what it was about. I wanted to get drunk. I wanted to have like rap and Bloodborne together. I think it's because Bloodborne can kind of be a really rhythmic game because of the way that you're dodging and attacking.
Yeah, it's very rhythmic.
Yeah, if you have something like X Gonna Give It To You that has a lot of like a lot of opportunity to be doing stuff on the beat or on the downbeat, it actually can be really fun just to do that. Like I do kind of like the idea of doing custom soundtrack stuff.
Yeah. I will be surprised. I honestly thought his question was going to be, what are some of your favorite like soundtracks? like movie soundtracks or video game soundtracks. I honestly thought that's where the question was going to go, and it did not go there.
Well, do you want to tell us some of your favorite movie soundtracks or video game soundtracks? We're a little light on questions this week, so
what was his other actual last question?
What music from a movie or game do others love that doesn't impact you, either not enjoying it or not playing / watching? I can definitely say that. Oh no! Wait, hold on. This brought up a whole other thing. Anyway, I'll get to that. I can definitely say that, like, you know how the Final Fantasy music, you know how they have like concerts and shit of the Final Fantasy music.
That doesn't impact. Yeah,
it doesn't really. I mean, like, I like the battle theme from Final Fantasy. I used to be that I kind of feel like every gamer of a certain age group. When you got the ability to put a custom ringtone on your phone, put the Final Fantasy VII Win music as your ringtone.
Yeah.
For a long time, my best friend, that was the ringtone for him, was da 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 da. But I was actually thinking about how I love the Persona battle music, the Persona 4 battle music, Reach Out to the Truth. I've actually listened to that like a lot. Completely divorced from Persona. Like, I don't play Persona 4 very much, but that track is so catchy. I still don't know why people don't do this more, of like having a pop song as the battle music, like a really catchy pop song as the battle music, because you can be listening to the battle music all over again, and it really jives with me to have like a really catchy pop song that you're just listening to over and over and over again. I think I did the same thing with the Final Fantasy 13 battle music is also really good. And then the Persona 5 battle music is really good. I mean, for a long time, my favorite video game soundtracks, it was always Bastion. I love the Darren Korb Bastion and Transistor soundtracks. And to this day, I haven't listened to it in a long time, but I'm such a huge fan of the Simon Viklund Bionic Commando Rearmed techno remix, like EDM remix of all those old 8-bit Bionic Commando songs, because, man, the NES has like some good-ass shit. Like, those are the mini bosses, or it's that band that Michael likes. It does the kind of like Tejano versions of
I don't know
stuff. I can't remember what the name is. There are, I don't know what are anything recently.
Video game music that soundtracks I love. I love the Mega Man soundtrack. I love it to death, and I love the Megas as well, which they cover and they add like lyrics to it and like actually make like really good music to the Mega Man songs. As far as like movie soundtracks, some of my favorite are probably going to be like the soundtrack to the movie Rad. Is strangely one of those that I love more than the movie itself, and I love that movie a lot. It's another one of those so bad that I love it. And then also, like I said earlier, the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. I can listen to that thing on repeat all fucking day long.
Yeah.
Every day. Like, it's so good.
I don't listen to very much music though anymore. I think that's the hard part of this question. Is I listen to a lot of soundtracks, or I listen to a lot of podcasts, not soundtracks, instead of actual music.
Yeah, and you got a car now that the radio works, and
but it's also got Bluetooth, so I can listen to the podcast in the car as well. It's funny because I actually programmed the radio to like listen to radio, and every so often I'm like, I'm listening to the radio. But the other night I was taking my dog out, and I just like went to Spotify, and I was like, 80s me Spotify, just 80s on shuffle.
Yeah. I also dig the soundtrack to Alan Wake, and that's both the instrumental stuff and the Old Gods of Asgard / Poets of the Fall stuff. I really like that.
Dynamite from Control was so good.
The Control soundtrack's also pretty good.
I really like that quite a bit.
Well, the thing is, Dynamite, that's not even original to that game. That's actually they changed some of the lyrics to fit the game, but it's actually like a real cover song by like a band called Mud or Muff or something like that. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any movies that I've watched. The thing is that I'm kind of tone deaf when it comes to like, I mean, everybody that I know is like, it's that voice actor, and I'm like, it's Nathan Drake.
I will be honest. I am very much one of those people that's like, it's that voice actor, because for a long time in my childhood, I wanted to be a voice actor.
Right on.
And so I kind of trained myself to recognize voices. And sometimes it's obvious. Sometimes, it's like obvious, like, oh, that's clearly this person or that's clearly that person. And I'm always really excited when I can't figure out who it is, and it's someone who I never thought could have done that voice.
Right.
Like that. I'm always excited when fucking who's the voice of Nathan Drake? I can't think of
Nolan
his name.
North.
Nolan North. When Nolan North did the Penguin.
Was the Penguin? Yeah.
Like that threw me for a loop. I was like, holy shit, that's no. Why is everyone making him do the same voice? The man has range.
Yeah. He could be British, for fuck's sake. I don't know. There's a lot of good. The problem is that it used to be. I remark on this all the time, but like it used to be that I feel like some video game music was good, and then there was a lot of stuff that was like passable. But most video game music is good these days,
Yeah,
or at least
no, it is.
At least not in the least bit offensive enough to be bad for me to notice it or for it to stand out. So.
I honestly can't think of a video game that's had like a bad soundtrack.
I do know that last week or week before last, Matt and I played Bayonetta, and I love the jazzy Bayonetta soundtrack. Is so good. I've never really listened to it all on its own, but it's so good. And I'm also trying to think of what there was another. Who was that? There's this group that's on Spotify that does like covers of video game music, and it's called like Sleepy Time for Video Games or something, where it's just like a piano and a flute or something. I can't remember. Anyway, that's the main problem, is that there's so little these days that I feel like is so notable.
And I also feel like part of it is that you also had this generation that grew up with 8-bit games and 16-bit games and PlayStation 1 and whatever. And then you had these people who got inspired by that music to get into music. Mm-hmm. And then, you had things on the internet like OC Remix back in the day that got huge. And these people learned how to do proper video game music. And then some of them actually went on to make music for video games.
Right.
And it's all elevated because,
Doom has an excellent soundtrack. Doom 2016.
Yeah.
Where they put the fucking pentagrams and stuff and like the music in the waveform and shit. That is amazing. And actually, you know what? Here's another one that's weird is I hear the music from Kerbal Space Program in a lot of places. I think it's some royalty-free music that's like the music that you get when you're like constructing stuff, the kind of background music. I hear it a lot in a lot of places. Like there was this guy who did this YouTube channel called Down the Rabbit Hole, and I feel like he would use that in the background for some of his things. And I was just like, what the fuck is Kerbal Space Program doing over here? You know what? I don't know if I've talked about it over the last 2 weeks, but also Kerbal Space Program 2 had a big update where they created a new studio to basically they took the studio that was working on it and folded it into an even bigger studio. They did a little dev diary talking about like emailing physicists to find out like what the kind of next generation of rocket parts might look like. So there's like there's a thing, I've actually run into it in some of the sci-fi that I read, of exploding nuclear bombs behind you in space to build up speed, and they're going to have a specific engine that does that. There's also the idea of getting these like rare earth materials on other planets to make these types of theoretical engines. I don't know. I'm really hoping that game is good. I really hope that game is good. Also, I just went and watched a bunch of videos because they did a graphics update for Kerbal Space Program. So, but we're not going to go down that hole. We're going to go on. We're going to continue. The next question comes in from Kenny. Kenny says, "Dear Jeff and John, I've been cooking for myself for a couple of years. I'm really good at making hot wings now. Recently, I've been craving dishes my mom used to make, specifically capoon. She also made pho, larb, papaya salad, and many other Thai, Vietnamese, and Laotian dishes. Her cooking was uniquely different from the same dishes I'd eat in restaurants. It's funny, growing up, I thought it was a treat whenever she bought Burger King, but now all I want is a home-cooked meal like she used to make. Before she passed, I learned how to make her special hot sauce. My only regret was not learning everything she knew, all the foods I miss now. I regret it because I had so much time and opportunities growing up to help her in the kitchen and to learn, but I took it for granted. Do you guys have a favorite dish that only your parents could make special? Sorry for the long preamble. Your little patron, Kenny." And then Kenny also has he gave me the recipe for mom's special hot sauce.
Nice.
But, Kenny, I appreciate it. You didn't put in any of the, it's basically just like a list of ingredients. There are no measurements. So it's like, this could be anything. This could be, I could do this and it could be all wrong. So send me the actual ingredients or the actual
measurements.
Yeah. Anyway, John, anything in particular that you associate with the parents or you try to make or that
was like a special culinary treat that you got?
I don't know if it was like a special, unique to my family kind of thing, or at least to my parents, like making it the best or anything like that. But the one thing that I do associate with my mom's cooking, beef stroganoff.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was just the standard hamburger helper stuff, but
you can make that, right?
Yeah,
you
no,
get
I
the
know.
box of beef stroganoff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just that, but
yeah. My it's funny. My on my mom's side of the family, because of when I grew up and kind of, I was born in 1978. My family, they were kind of throwbacky. Like they were kind of 1950s nuclear family folks. So like my mom did a lot of the cooking when we were kids.
Yeah.
And she grew up mostly in the Midwest, but my grandfather was in the Air Force, and so when they were younger, when they were kids, they moved around a lot. They lived in Japan, they lived in Hawaii. My mom went back to Hawaii, but she inherited this whole kind of cookbook of recipes from her mom, which was a lot of what we got when we were a kid. And this was some Midwestern white people ass food, like roasts with green beans and mashed potatoes. But there's two things that I always, there's a couple of things. One is my mom used to make spaghetti, and she always just made really good spaghetti with meat sauce. And I'm sure that it's nothing. It's just cans of tomato paste, ground beef, Italian seasoning, and like salt and pepper, right? I doubt there's even any like fresh garlic or anything. It's probably just like garlic powder, because they grew up in this generation when everything was just fucking and then I don't know why, but my mom makes this like taco salad. It's like a salad that has like kind of an Italian dressing, and then like a bunch of beans and like green onions and avocado, and like a bunch of just corn chips crumbled up inside of it. I don't know why, but I love that shit so much. Whenever my mom asks me like what I want, I'm like, I want taco salad. And then like 4 years ago, I think she stopped asking me because she knew if she asked me what I wanted to eat, I was going to tell her taco salad. She doesn't want to make it anymore. But our family, when I was a kid, we made chicken fajitas every Saturday night.
Okay.
So my dad would grill out chicken, he'd make guacamole, he'd make pico, and get the whole thing together, and all sit down around the table and get it. So it actually turns out that you can replicate that pretty easily, because the main part of it was just grilled chicken. I've actually done it myself a few times, but I don't know. It's funny, when I went up for Christmas and I went to visit my parents, I was talking with my dad about cooking. And I don't mean to put my dad on blast or anything here, because he said this shit to me, and I don't think he would say it to me and then want me to. I don't think he would need me to keep it a secret. Nobody knows who my dad is anyway, except for the few people that found his YouTube channel. Don't look for his YouTube channel, or do. I don't know. I don't know how to stop the internet from doing a thing. Anyway, be nice or I'll ban you. That's my thing. But he was like, I never taste anything when I'm cooking. I'm like, I'm sorry, what did you just say to me? He's like, no, I cook the thing, and I use the ingredients that I've like written down or the recipe, and I just make it. I don't ever taste it or season it or anything. I'm like, well, what if you make it and then it turns out bad because it needed salt, like in step 2? And he's like, well, then I'll know for next time to put more salt into step 2. And I'm like, this is insanity. This is the most inefficient cooking method I've ever heard of in my entire life. Like, what are you talking about? You got to taste it the whole time. Gordon Ramsay would he would yell at you, Dad. Gordon Ramsay would yell at my dad, and I would be on Gordon Ramsay's side in this case. I mean, I'd probably tell him to tone it down a little bit, because that's my dad. But like,
well, I would laugh if your dad actually like went on a cooking show with Gordon Ramsay, and Gordon Ramsay just loved everything that you did, and like he's like, you have clearly have years of experience and know exactly what you're doing.
Yep.
You, sir, are a true chef.
Yep.
Like I feel like that's what would happen.
And
you just be off to the side going, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I don't know. It was so weird. Like, he told me that they got an Instant Pot, right? I was talking about the Instant Pot. Instant Pot's a pressure cooker. You raise the pressure, and then things cook faster.
Yes.
Right.
We are aware. You've talked all of our ears off about the Instant Pot.
I wasn't trying to do that. But, like, I went up, and my mom was complaining because she was like, he keeps cooking stuff in the Instant Pot, and it'll say to cook it for like 30 minutes, and then he'll be like, well, if 30 minutes is good, then 45 minutes will be even better.
Oh.
But like, this is like an exponential cooking like you cook a 6-hour pot roast in 30 minutes because of the pressure. And so if you add an extra 15, if you add another third onto what you're cooking, you cook the fuck out of it, and then it's not any good. And I'm just like, what? Just no. Like when you need to be following the directions, you're not following the directions. And then when you so like the last time that when we went up there for Christmas, my sister and I, we really took over the kitchen in a pretty hardcore way. My sister is a fucking fantastic cook. Like she's been cooking her entire life. She's got, she's cooking everything, and she's married to a man who loves to cook as well. So they cook all the time. And I've learned how to do a few things. Like I can do a few things.
Specifically with the Instapot.
Well, I made breakfast potatoes. I know how to make some pretty banging breakfast potatoes.
Okay.
I make this thing that so you all will indulge me for just 1 second.
Oh, I'm sure the fans love it.
2 years ago, when I was at my parents'
and I'm being
house
serious there, by the way.
for Christmas, I was like, we should have the Christmas dinner, turkey, dressing, but then for side dishes, right? A lot of time, what are your side dishes with turkey and dressing? Mashed potatoes,
green bean
casserole, mac and cheese. Real carb heavy, right? Real big carb heavy. So I was like, what if we made something green to go with it? So I started looking up online, like some green side dishes for Christmas, and I came across Gordon Ramsay's. They're these Brussels sprouts, and you cook pancetta, which is like a fatty Italian bacon. You render out the fat from that, and you cook the Brussels sprouts in the pancetta, and then you throw in chestnuts, and you throw in lemon zest, and you squeeze a little lemon on it. Great. It's very light. So I made this, and it was okay. I thought it was okay, but my extended family, they were all like, that's amazing. And so because that happened, when I went up last year, they were like, well, you're going to make your famous Brussels sprouts for us again. And I'm like, they're Gordon Ramsay's Brussels sprouts. I'll give you the recipe tomorrow. You can make it whenever you want to. It's like $8 worth of food. You can make it for an afternoon snack. And they're just like, no, they're yours. And then you have to make them. And I was like, well, okay. So I made them. And
so it's now, Jeff's famous Gordon Ramsay Brussels sprouts.
Jeff's famous Brussels sprouts, written and directed by Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, I mean, all I'm doing is just following Gordon Ramsay's recipe. So, which I don't know if you know this, John. Chestnuts are a real son of a bitch.
Yeah,
they got a springy outside, so they're really hard to open.
Yeah,
you got to roast them over an open fire, or you can boil them, or you can roast them in the oven. And I did that. I burned my hands because you got to get them out of there. You got to get them open while they're hot. You get
That's why typically you have a thing to open them with.
A nutcracker.
Yeah.
You can't do it with them because the shells are too springy. So you have to literally cut an X into every one of them and then cook them until by either boiling them or roasting them, it makes the shells hard enough briefly enough so that you can peel them open. And then if they get cold again, you can't open them. They turn back to being springy. So you've got to heat them back up again. And it's like, God, fuck you, chestnuts. And they don't keep. So you can't buy them and keep them in your you can't do that ahead of time. You have to do it right before you're going to cook them because they only last for a day.
Yeah.
You eat them immediately. Anyway, sorry, Kenny. This is my Christmas adventure. Send me the individual things. Of course, this has cilantro in it. It also has fish sauce, which I have. Fish sauce is good. Everybody should get fish sauce. You put it in a little thing. It doesn't make it taste fishy. It just makes it taste better. Vanish Knight writes in about a question we had last week that was about spiders and why I don't like them. And I talked about how I don't like spiders, but then I realized the spiders in Metro Exodus they only had 6 legs and a scorpion tail. So I wasn't scared of them anymore because I'm not scared of bugs. I'm scared of spiders. So Vanish Knight says, hey, Jeff, if an 8-legged creature was missing 1 leg, would you still be scared of it?
That's a good question.
And the answer is yes, because it used to have 8 legs. It is part of the 8-legged variant. It is not like the specific number of legs. It's not like if you took a spider and yanked 2 legs off of it, I'm like, oh, it's a bug now. I'm cool with that. That's all right. I'm fine with that. Yeah, let's go.
So it was the fact that it had a scorpion tail.
No.
That made you go, it's not really a spider, it's a bug.
No, what happened was that in Metro, you burn up these spider webs, and then they'll walk across the screen like they're walking across your face or your hand or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, when I first saw those. And then as I was playing the game, I was like, why am I not as freaked out by these things as I should be? And then they came to a level where there were giant versions of them. And I was like, oh, it's because they only have 6 legs and a tail. They're not actually spiders.
Oh, okay. So they weren't spiders.
Well, they call them spiders in the game, but no, they're not.
That's weird.
I don't know. They're also like, they look like a knuckly hand bug and not like they're not all spindly. Like spiders in Bloodborne, that's some shit right there. Because those look like actual spiders, but Titanic. They move like spiders. Are you spider? You don't care?
No, I mean, I don't care. I don't like, if I see a spider in a video game, that doesn't bother me, or a movie, or that stuff doesn't bother me. Okay. In real life, I might be like, I'm going to walk this way or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what really freaks me out?
What's that?
Roaches.
Why? They don't bite. They don't do anything.
I've had one try to burrow into my ear while I was sleeping.
Well, no, that's a horrible. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
No wonder you were making all those faces at the Illithid putting stuff into people's eye sockets in the beginning of this game. Yikes. Cut it out, roaches. Assholes.
Yeah. But I just literally like woke up and it was just like trying to like go into my ear, and I was like, And
what are you going to do when you're in there, roach? You can't even get in there. Was it a big one?
Yeah.
Well, you're not ever. The big ones won't fit in your ear.
It was gross.
Stupid.
I thought it was like trying to lay eggs or something.
Blech. Ugh. Pretty sure that's an urban legend.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's what they were trying to do, but I was like, that's what I was like, felt like it was trying to do or something.
Man, you know that Scary Stories that Tell in the Dark movie?
Yeah.
That one scary story that was like the girl that has like a
pimple
and then
like
it turns out it was a spider that laid eggs in her face. And that part in the movie, I almost had to look away because in the movie it turns into this big pustule and then spiders all come out of it. And it's just like,
yeah. I'll admit that was gross.
Nathan writes in and says, greetings and salutations, Jeff and John. Recently, one of my friends broke up with his girlfriend. And because life is nothing but inspiration for podcast questions, it got me thinking, well, there's plenty of breakup movies and untold thousands of breakup songs. What area of breakup songs, what are some games that fit into this specific category? If you can't think of any, then what style of game do you think that would make a good breakup game? Souls-like, rhythm action, may the Dawn Lord smile upon you, and that's from Nathan. It kind of depends on. I feel like there's two types of. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of subtypes, but I feel like there's 2 types of breakup songs. There's the like, I'm going to listen to the song that makes me sad while I think about what I once had and wallow in my depression.
Yeah,
and then there's like the kind of fuck you, I'm over you, the CeeLo Green like I'm getting out of here.
Shares, do you believe in love after love or whatever?
Right. Yeah. Like these boots were made for walking or something like that. The kind of like, fuck you, I didn't even need you anyway. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So I feel like if it's the fuck you, I didn't need you anyway.
Or any song by Tina Turner.
Yeah. I don't know. Breakup game. I'm trying to think of what makes a good breakup movie. I always watch the same type of movie. Like when I broke up with my girlfriend, I watch action movies because I was like, I want to focus on action. I don't want to watch like
my
High Fidelity or something.
Oh no, I fucking High Fidelity was my jam, and also the new YouTube the Hulu series is really good.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the movie. So.
Yeah, it's different, but it's the same. Like it's still like very much the same, but it does its own thing, especially with the fact they gender flipped some of the characters.
I was thinking to stick with Brooklyn Nine-Nine and like Legion.
Yeah. But I really liked it. And plus, the soundtrack in both the movie and the show is so fucking killer.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
It's been, I think I watched High Fidelity.
Like, the
movie once.
That's another movie whose soundtrack is inherently ingrained to that movie. That if I hear any song that was in that movie, I immediately associate it with
What about the Judgment Night soundtrack? Remember that, where it was like all the rappers and the speed metal team ups?
Oh no, I never read.
You don't know about that?
No, I don't know about that.
Oh wow, that's surprising to me. Yeah, it was so weird. Anyway,
but I'm trying to think like what would make a good like breakup video game. I feel like there is like a good breakup video game. Like I feel like there is a game that's like
Monster Prom.
I feel like there is one out there, and it's like it's not like a. I mean, I guess technically isn't what the hell is the game where it's like it's a side scroller platformer, but it like deals with time.
Oh, Braid,
yeah. Isn't that like a breakup story?
I don't think so. I think it's
Like-
more of a stalking story.
Well, like that's what like there's different levels of it, and the base level is like a breakup story, and then if you look more about it, it's about like the story is flipped to be something different. And then when
Right.
you look even more into it, it's about the creation of the atomic bomb.
Right. Yeah.
But like a game that like I feel like there is.
Night in the Woods might make a good breakup game.
Yeah.
Because it's very kind of like, or like Life is Strange or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess it depends on whether you were going to play something that was like that dealt with romance, or whether you were just
Yeah.
going to be like, I'm going to play System Shock 2, and then I'm going to pretend that bitch Shodan was my ex bitch girlfriend, and then I don't actually think my ex is a bitch. That's not what I'm saying. But like, if you're all bitter and shit, like I guess you could try playing a game that had an antagonist that was like similar to your breakup person, and be real mad at them.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
That's not a bad answer. It's not a bad answer. I don't know that. I guess it's funny because I feel like the things that would be breakup movies or not breakup songs really, but the things that would be breakup movies, that genre isn't really well represented in video games, like romantic video games. I mean, there's some. You play Florence, it'll only take you 40 minutes.
Yeah.
You all 40 minutes. You're all better now. I don't know. I don't really have a lot of good experience with this because I haven't had that many like bitter breakups.
Yeah, I haven't really either.
And I'm kind of just always sad all the time a little bit. So it's not like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have an answer for this. Anything that takes your mind off of it?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't really play video games to deal with that kind of stuff. That's more of something I watch very specific types of movies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I'm also married now, so I don't really.
You know how to deal with that? Let's talk about the Judgment Night soundtrack real fast. I'm so surprised you haven't ever heard of this.
No, I haven't.
There was this like movies because it had just like a regular score, but then there was like this soundtrack that was like, it was like inspired by the movie, and so
and for what is this for?
Judgment Night was the movie where Judgment Night was the movie where God, what was it? It was like Emilio Estevez and Dennis and Cuba Gooding Jr. and Stephen Dorff, I think, get like trapped in inner city LA,
And they're
like,
being
in the middle of the
hunted?
night. What's that? Well, sort of. I think it's just like they piss off some gang members. It's like 90s gang stuff. And then I never watched it. I don't really know.
It sounds vaguely familiar. I'm pretty sure I've seen this film.
But the soundtrack, there was this weird crossover thing. So like the first track was called Just Another Victim, and it's by Helmet and House of Pain.
Oh.
And then it's like Teenage Fan Club and De La Soul, Living Color and Run DMC, Biohazard and Onyx, Slayer and Ice-T, Faith No More and Booyah Tribe, Sonic Youth and Cypress Hill, Mudhoney and Sir Mix-a-Lot. Mudhoney and Sir Mix-a-Lot. Wow, that's weird. Dinosaur Jr. and Del the Funky Homo Sapien, Therapy and Fatal, and Pearl Jam and Cypress Hill. There was these weird amalgam, like the comics, right? Where it was like, really? Pearl Jam and Cypress Hill? Okay, sure. So everybody can go look for the Judgment Night soundtrack.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yep. Maybe that's the soundtrack that we've all been I'm waiting for. I've thought about John. I've actually thought about just going into the music channel on the Rage Light Discord and just every day putting in like one song that I'm pretty sure that nobody's ever thought of in a long time or probably hasn't ever listened to. I know a lot of 90s songs that I bet a lot of people have never heard in their entire life. So
I honestly have contemplated, because I do go onto the Discord every now and then, and I constantly debate on going in there and just posting like weird things that I know no one else has heard.
yeah.
Some of which I don't even know if it can find it on YouTube or whatnot.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Discord, let's finish up with some Discord questions. Let's see. Kate Josie writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and John, I started my master's course at a new film school a couple weeks ago. I don't have much time to play video games right now, and it's kind of making me a little sad. I played games my entire life and never went so long without playing something. Have you ever felt a little depressed not being able to do a hobby that you love? Thanks for amazing content and insight. Your loyal patron, Kate Josie."
Yes.
Like what?
There was a period of time where I really couldn't afford comic books, because that's a I mean, there was a period of time where literally I was spending like $200 a week every 2 weeks, like $100 a week on comics, and now I'm nowhere near that. But it was just one of those things where I had to kind of like stop buying comics for like, I want to say I stopped buying comics for almost a year. Like I still kept up with news and like what was going on and stuff, but like I wasn't like buying comics, I wasn't reading comics. Just went cold turkey for like a year, and I kind of felt really bad about it. Also, you know, movies. I really love watching movies and going to see new movies in theaters. There was a long period of time where I stopped going to see movies in theaters.
Just too pricey.
Yeah, it was just too pricey. And then, yeah, I mean, I always feel like I go through cycles where there will be one of my hobbies or whatever that I kind of take a break from for a while. Like there'll be a period of time where I'm exclusively just playing video games and I'm not really reading comics or watching movies all that much. And then something will happen and I'm not really playing video games all that much, but I'm playing a lot of, you know, I'm watching a lot of movies or, you know, reading a lot of comics or, you know, like the kind of cyclical goes through what kind of go through where one takes predominance in the other two. But the comics one is more memorable just because of the fact that it was less of a I'm more interested in this movie or video game right now and more of a I legitimately can't afford to buy comics.
Right on. That same thing happened to me. I used to be able to have a video game hobby and a music hobby and a comic book hobby, and that was kind of like in movies and DVDs and stuff. And I had to cut most of those out, especially once I started doing Rage Select and I was keeping up and spending more money on games than on anything else. Even back at Spill when I was able to expense some of that stuff, it's an expensive hobby. It's the most expensive of those hobbies. So, I mean, like I was really big into comics for a while and then I kind of just dropped off. I think there was a point where it was like after the Grant Morrison JLA run finished where I kind of just tapered off a little bit at a time. And then I was like, of all the hobbies I have, I can't afford to do comics because it's just too expensive. So,
if anyone's wondering, for me, it was about 3 months into the New 52 for DC. I dropped all of it hard.
Yeah,
and like didn't read anything for like a year.
Is there anything good going on in the DC universe right now in the comics? I hear a lot of stuff about other stuff, and Marvel seems like they're all wackadoo and crazy. But
Marvel's doing some weird stuff. DC is in a weird state right now because they just fired Dan DiDio, who is like one of the like spearheading guys of DC, who was also responsible for a lot of things that a lot of people didn't like.
Okay,
like literally, he would dictate that they needed to do like some big shake-up crisis every like couple of years.
Right.
Like previously it's like DC went, here's Crisis on Infinite Earths, like maybe 10, 15 years later. Here's another big event that kind of wipes the slate clean.
Right.
Maybe 10, 15 years later. Here's another one. And for him, as soon as he came on board, it was like, okay, we're going to do one every 3 years.
I thought that DC, didn't they have like every year they would have one... would have a big crossover event?
There's literally an event book every fucking year.
Yeah.
And in some cases there's like 3 events going on. But like I'm talking like earth-shattering, reset the entire universe back to day one.
Okay.
You know, like all the characters are younger, and apparently they were
like Crisis.
Yeah, like basically there was a new crisis every year, and oh my
that
god,
sounds
like,
exhausting.
Because it was like Identity Crisis, then there was Countdown, which it became Countdown to Infinite Crisis,
right?
Which was then Infinite Crisis, and then there was Final Crisis, and then there was Flashpoint and New 52, and then Rebirth and Convergence. And
so is the DC universe currently set back to the pre-New 52 establishment?
It's kind of in a weird place right now.
Okay.
But apparently they were gearing up to do another event that was supposed to be called Fifth Generation, or was be shortened to like G5 or 5G.
Okay. That's when you get the really high
apparently
data.
Part of the reason of when Dan DiDio was let go was so that event didn't happen.
Okay.
Because apparently no one wanted it to happen except for him, and because of his position, he was dictating it had to happen. And a lot of the editors and writers and people kind of did some things behind the scenes. I don't know the specifics of it. There's a whole thing about it if you really want to read about it. It's all over the place. It's crazy with going on with DC right now.
Okay.
But I've heard good things about Bendis's. Like, it's weird. I hear a lot of mixed reactions on Bendis's Superman run right now. Like I hear a lot, like it's like for every good thing he does, he also does one bad thing. So it's like, oh man, this issue is really well written, but he totally fucked up this character. Oh man, he's really done this amazingly great thing with Superman. But he shit on this other, thing. Or he's ruined this other thing. And, it's like literally for every great thing he does, he also does something that pisses everybody off. And so everyone's kind of like mixed. Like it's all written well, but it's not like what they want from a Superman book or what they want from a big event book or whatnot. If it's not Superman, like he's also writing Teen Titans. Like I hear Teen Titans is really good right now.
I always thought, I always thought Bendis was he was very workmanlike, but he cranked out a lot of stuff. And it was always good to read.
Yeah, he's got like 4 or 5 books going on right now.
Yeah, that he wasn't, because he did Powers.
Yeah,
that was him, right?
Yeah. And I think that's coming back soon.
And then he was he was the first guy on Ultimate Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, he was the guy who did Ultimate Spider-Man and kind of...
And on Ultimate X-Men at the beginning, too?
He was the second writer on Ultimate X-Men.
Okay. Did he do Ultimates then also?
No, that was Brian Hitch.
Really?
Yeah, he never wrote Ultimates.
Okay.
But he did run Ultimate Fantastic Four for a while as well.
Before it turned into zombies?
Well, before it turned into whatever it turned into.
Yeah.
Where Reed Richards became evil and is now the greatest villain in all of... And then crossed over into the main Marvel universe because the Ultimate Universe technically doesn't exist anymore, even though it technically does. But...
Things got weird.
He also did Jessica Jones and stuff like that. But no, like, as far as like the DC stuff... I'm really liking a lot of their Black Label books.
Okay.
I don't read all of them. So Black Label was intended to be their more mature line of comics.
Okay.
And they're kind of oversized. They're almost like magazine size and like oversized magazine size instead of the normal comic size.
All right.
And it kind of had a bit of a stall at one point because there was the whole issue where they had a comic that had Bruce Wayne changing out of the Bat costume and you could clearly see his dick. And when that came out that was in there, like there was a whole recall on the comic and a whole big kind of issue there because they don't want to see Batman's penis
because there were 1,300 complaints about how the Super Bowl halftime show was pornography.
But
people get weird about it.
But like the Stefan Sujurdric, I never know how to say his name, but he did a book called Harleen about Harley Quinn.
I think
that was really good.
Okay,
it's 3 issues. Usually, most of these things are like 3 issues long.
Yeah,
I have not read any of the Joker books. Like, there's like 6 Black Label Joker books. I could give 2 shits about the fucking Joker.
Okay,
but like that, there's currently a.
Did he get his face back on? Get his face back on his face?
A lot of these Black Label books are outside of continuity. Like, they're not part of... Like, they can be referenced to as being continuity, but they're not really.
Okay.
Like, they're just kind of doing their own thing. There's a book for The Question that I really like that's going on right now. I think the 3rd issue's coming out soon.
Is that Renee Montoya Question?
No, this is the original Victor... I forget his last name.
Ooh, me too.
And then currently there's a Wonder Woman book that's only got 2 issues out called Wonder Woman Dead Earth.
Okay.
Which is kind of the story. It's written by the same guy who did a book called Murder Falcon, which is the most metal fucking comic in the entire world.
You have talked about Murder Falcon before.
He's also doing this Wonder Woman Dead Earth, in which it's Wonder Woman wakes up in a cryogenic like tube she's awoken in a cryogenic tube in the Batcave in the post-apocalypse.
Okay.
And it's her trying to figure out like what happened to the world and also why she was in this. Like, she has no memory of what happened or why she was in there.
Okay.
So she's trying to figure out why she was in there, what happened to the world, like why is the world the way it is, how can she fix it? And it's really well written and drawn, and I fucking love the creator. He's definitely this is only the second thing I've read by him, and he's solidified himself as anything he does I will buy.
Okay.
But yeah, there's Joe Hill has his own line of horror comics with DC now called Hill House Comics that have all been excellent. I think he's only written like 2, like he's only writing like 2 of the books, and then the other books are by other people that he's just editor on.
Okay.
But yeah, that line has been really good with horror comics. DC's doing some interesting stuff, and they're kind of also in a weird like holding pattern right now because of the Dan DiDio thing.
Okay.
Marvel's got a lot of really good stuff going on. Daredevil's fucking great. Like it's doing stuff with Daredevil that I don't think has been done.
Mm-hmm.
Like one part of it is like the thing that's been done is Matt Murdock not wanting to be Daredevil, but still feeling he has an obligation to use his
with great power comes great responsibility.
Use his abilities to do stuff.
Yeah.
And he's also not a lawyer anymore because he was like mayor for like a hot minute of New York City.
Okay.
And then like he got voted out of office, and now Kingpin is the mayor of New York City.
Okay.
And then Matt Murdock at some point got hit by a bus saving a kid and got put in a coma. And then when he woke up from the coma, there was this whole thing about him trying to be Daredevil, and then he accidentally killed a guy. Basically a criminal, like trying to subdue this criminal. He accidentally killed him, and then so now he's kind of like, I can't be Daredevil anymore. I shouldn't be doing this anymore. And then you also have the B story of Kingpin deciding he's going to go legit and go into politics and finding out how corrupt politics is compared to his criminal life, and how he has been a big fish in a small pond trying to move to a ocean with much larger fish than him. And it's all been really interesting and really good.
That sounds good.
The current Daredevil run is just fucking amazing.
Cool.
There's a lot of other really good books going on. There's a whole if you even want to talk about non-DC and Marvel stuff, the fucking Die, great. DI, as in dice. Die is a fantasy world. I'm sure I've talked about it before on here. It's great.
Okay.
Trying to think of other books off the top of my head that I've been reading a lot lately. But we'll just move on.
Let's squeeze a couple more of these in here. We got a couple more minutes. Call Me Mo says, "Hey Jeff and John, what are some of the dumbest criticisms you've seen / heard on the internet? For example, people saying God of War is a bad game because it's a dad simulator, or The Wolf of Wall Street is 0 out of 10 because there aren't any wolves in the movie. What? Keep up the great content and have a pleasant day." That's from Call Me Mo. Twitter just.
I also don't think a lot of those are serious. Like they act like they're serious, but they're not.
Yeah. I've been on this tangent a bunch of times, so I won't go too far out onto this limb. I'll just take like one step from the trunk of this podcast. But like, I hate the 0-10 rating system that we have started using. Especially on like Metacritic reviews and the way that Rotten Tomatoes works.
Either a 10 out of 10 or a 0 out of 10.
It's either the best or it's the worst. And like, okay, listen, I don't got any great love for Warcraft 3 Reforged, right? I think it's kind of garbage. Like, I think that what they promised something they didn't deliver. They messed up the whole backwards compatibility. We all know all the problems with Warcraft 3 Reforged. I do not believe that Warcraft 3 Reforged deserves a 0. And the fact that like people were literally giving Gary's mod, day one Gary's mod, a 10 on Metacritic to raise its score up enough to make Warcraft 3 Reforged the lowest rated game on all of Metacritic, that's some dumb shit to me, because I don't know. I mean, like we've seen it before. You and I have talked about this before about how people on Steam, they only have the upvote or the downvote. And so you have somebody on Steam that says like, keyboard support or like the frame rate is locked, downvote. I know that's you feel a lot more strongly about that than I do, but the thing is that
I do.
Well, I feel like in the past you have been much more about like, that's not a legitimate criticism. Fuck you.
Oh, okay.
That's been. I kind of understand a little bit when you spend $2,000 on a gaming rig, right? And some fucking 4-year-old PlayStation game has locked the frame rate for some reason, and you're used to playing games at a fucking 120 frames per second. But in any case, without going down that road, like I feel like the thing that irritates me is when people pick one thing and then say that is the reason this entire thing is worthless, because everything, movies, video games, music, I feel like all these things have a lot of different facets.
Yeah.
And so to pick, one thing and then just say, so no, the answer is no, because of this one thing that I think should be in the game. And it's like, but there's a whole variety of other things out there that I would like to know about, right? Like if the
game was censored, but is the gameplay still good or not?
Right. Yeah. Like, is everything that's not the parts of Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE
that you want it to be uncensored. Is the rest of the game good? Like, I need to know, or I would like to know, right? I don't know. I run into a lot of, this is one of the reasons, though, I've kind of stopped going to Twitter, is I've run into a lot of bad takes on Twitter. I think the one that confuses me the most, though, John, is when people think a thing is bad, and then there are people that think that same thing is good, and their rationale for it is just like, it's not that bad. Like, I've been flabbergasted with the new Star Wars trilogy, how people have kind of come out of the woodwork to be like, well, the prequels, they weren't that bad. No, they were bad. They were bad. They were not very good. Like, you may enjoy them, but I don't believe they were very good. Or like, Batman versus Superman it wasn't that bad, John. I mean, come on.
Go fuck yourself.
Also, a lot of this is subjective. So the idea that somebody is going to tell you that your opinion is wrong because, I mean, every opinion is legitimate, right? I mean,
yeah.
I don't like Wolf of Wall Street because I think the main character is an unlikable scumbag, and I'm not interested in watching unlikable scumbags do what they do. Like, you suck. You suck and you're bad, and I hate you, and I don't know why I would want to watch a 2.5-hour movie of a person I think is bad and sucks.
Yeah, I get that
more than once. I don't know. Has anything ever stood out in your mind as being just a really specific? One more. I had a friend once upon a time. When I worked at Spill, I was an animator.
Yeah.
And I really wanted my friends, my old friends that knew me before I became an animator, to watch the animated reviews because I worked on them. Because I put a lot of time and effort into working on those reviews. Little cutaway good jokes and stuff. So at first I just told them about it and nobody would look at it. And then I tried to drop some subtle hints and nobody would look at it. And then I finally had to say, guys, I need you to look at this and just admit to me that you've looked at it. Like, you don't have to tell me, like, I want you to just pretend like, oh, you're the greatest, right? But like, I work really hard on this shit. I think it's funny. I think you should maybe give it a try. And after I badgered them, they finally did. But then one of my friends didn't like Corey and company's take on one of the Fast and Furious movies and said, your boss is stupid, and I'll never watch another review on that website as long as it exists. And I'm like, that's not my opinion. I work real hard at art.
I gave you my honest opinion on that video, and you want to call me out now about it. You son of a bitch.
It's been long enough, John. It's been long enough that we can...
No, those movies are fucking gospel. No, I'm joking.
I'm not friends with that guy
anymore.
I'm not
that friend.
He's a tool. He's a real tool. Anyway, I'm sorry. I thought of bad takes. That was one that stood out in my brain.
No, I don't know. Like, I feel like I have a lot of bad takes on a daily basis.
Yeah.
With phone support.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a lot of stuff that I can bring up.
Sure.
Also, it's not a lot of stuff that I can mentally bring up, just because when I'm done with work, while I remember the experience and remember it was a stupid take or a bad take, I kind of...
You do the Dr. Sleep, we put it in the box, close the box,
and walk away.
Put it in the maze and go on with your life.
Yeah, move on with my life.
Yeah.
So like, I'm sure like it literally, if you see me posting something on like Facebook or Twitter that's related to my job, that literally is being posted seconds after that exact conversation that I'm posting happened. Mm-hmm. Because by the time I get out of work, it ain't in my head no more, and I don't even remember what it was about. Like, there are times when I'll be like, I'll look at like on this day thing in Facebook, and I'll see it and I'm like, oh, the fuck was that call about? Man, that person sounds like an asshole.
Yeah,
I completely not remember what that was about. But yeah, no. So I don't know. I'm sure there's a ton of bad takes out there that I'm constantly irritated by.
All right, well, let's finish up with one more. Septum Sin says, Dear Rage Lords, have you ever played a game or seen a movie that was so bad or disturbing you had to try to forget about it and never see/play it again? Your patron, Septum Sin versus the world.
The movie Branded.
Oh, right. John hates Branded.
Yeah. So bad or disturbing that you had to try and forget about it and never see/play it again. Well, I don't think there's a game that's ever been disturbing enough to.
Yeah, I mean, even brand new, it's a fucking terrible movie, and not even and this is coming from someone who watches a lot of so bad movies that I find them entertaining.
Sure,
like, that wasn't even entertaining. Like, it was just bad.
I'm trying to think if there's ever been a movie where it's like I watched it, and it was so disturbing that I was like, Eraserhead really freaked me out when I first watched it, just because it's so surreal. But then I watched, like, I'm a real big fan of if something disturbs you, you should expose yourself to it. So then I watched everything else that David Lynch has ever made, and now it's like, oh, look, it's David Lynch. There it is. There's the weirdness. Like, when I was younger, I was like, that doesn't belong in this world. It's freaking me out. I don't know what's going on here. And now I'm just like, well, here we go again.
Now he's talking to a monkey. The monkey has a musical number.
Yep, monkey's going to say, or like, oh, look, there's a talking tree in Twin Peaks. Yep, that's weird, all right. It's got electricity coming off of it. That's strange. Or maybe that's like, there was a whole episode of the Twin Peaks reboot that was about the creation of the Bob and like the atomic bomb, and it went back in time and stuff. And everybody was just like, wow, what a crazy episode. And I'm just like, fucking David Lynch. I went to the Austin premiere of Inland Empire and sat through all 3 hours of Laura Dern acting like a crazy motherfucker. There was no story in that movie. It was just David Lynch scene after David Lynch scene of Laura Dern acting crazy. And I was like, great. You've wasted it now. You've done it too many times. You can't keep doing David Lynch, and I can't keep going. So strange.
David Lynch can only do David Lynch, though.
Yeah, I guess it's just that for me, I'm like, yeah, all right, but what's the story? Like, I don't care. Like, what's the story underneath all the crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing really. I mean, I would probably say like the original Last House on the Left.
Okay.
Like, I don't like rape scenes.
Yeah.
Especially gratuitous rape scenes.
Yeah.
Like, that was just an uncomfortable movie.
Yeah, I remember I watched I Spit on Your Grave, and it was like, I watched it, and I was like, okay. And I think I'd ever go back to watch it again, but I've never, like, pretend that I didn't. But, yeah, I definitely get that.
I mean, I never pretended that I didn't watch Last House on the Left, but it was just like, I kind of was like, no, I'm good on this. I don't need this in my life.
What was that? Irreversible? What was it? It had Monica Bellucci that was in like the Matrix sequels, and she was raped. It was like a French movie, and it all took place like in reverse.
Oh, I never saw that.
And then at the beginning of the movie, it's like it shows these, like, if you put it together in the right order, it's basically like these people that go out for a night, and then like Monica Bellucci's character gets assaulted, and then her boyfriend and this guy that's in love with her try to track down the guys that did it, and they end up killing the wrong guy. But then as the movie, the cinematography of the movie gets more like frantic and kind of like sickening as it goes on, a lot more like just gratuitous camera movement and very loud music and stuff. But then it's told in like 15-minute increments in reverse order. So it starts at the very end, and then it
kind of like Memento.
Sort of like Memento. But that was one where when it starts, it's at the very end of the movie, and it's these two guys, and they kill this guy by crushing his head with a fire extinguisher, and the camera is just moving like crazy, and the audio is really loud. It's like the beginning of the movie, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Yeah.
This one where it was just kind of like physically unpleasant to watch because it was kind of nausea-inducing. I don't know. I can't think of anything. I definitely can't think of any games that fall into that category.
There's never been a game that I've been outright.
You had the Grand Theft Auto 5 thing, right?
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, I guess that one probably.
Kind of falls into that category. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff, though, that I just don't watch. I do know that I watched
Tetsuo the Iron Man. You know that movie?
Yeah, I know that movie.
On acid when I was a teenager.
That's your first mistake.
Yeah, and that movie freaked me the fucking fuck out when I was on. And for a long time, I was just kind of like, I don't like that movie. I don't want to see anything about that movie. I want to think about that movie. But then I went back and watched it again. And I was just like, oh, it's ridiculous when you're sober and like older.
Yeah.
So, and on that happy note, we're going to go ahead and finish up. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address. Make sure to send in your questions, stories, whatnot. Send them in. We're very low right now on questions. Discord people. If you go to patreon.com/RageSelect and to give us $5 a month, you get on the Discord. You can put in Discord questions. We always try to read some Discord questions every month. So sending your emails, get on the Discord server, and just don't watch Tetsuo the Iron Man. Or do. I mean, I guess it's really up to you. You do what you want. It's your life.